videos ago. The last one was a metal riff lesson, but the one before that, if you guys remember, I gave you guys this really cool acoustic track. Well, I say it's cool because I wrote it and I hope you guys enjoyed it, but at the end of that video, I had asked if you guys wanted me to share some of the strategies and just some of the concepts in writing that acoustic piece, and of course many of you said, yeah, please share that. So we're doing that in this video, and my goal for you in this video is to take these concepts that we're going to go over and just really to help you formulate better rhythms and really just a playing style that caters more to your own style that you are continuously developing. So I really want you to take these concepts. We're going to talk about some picking strategies that I used here, the way I changed things up, and some variations of different chords that just give you a little bit different sound and even perspective of the song. Now, you can use this for writing your own music, or even if you're learning cover songs, I always encourage you to put your own twist to those cover songs, okay? So we're going to dive right into this, but hang around till the end of the video. After we go through this acoustic part here, I'm going to show you how to apply these concepts to rock and metal on electric, so do hang around for that. First, let me share just a short clip of the verse of this song, and I want you to listen for the change in the picking pattern here. So there are only two chords here. We've got an A and a D. Well, they're not really an A and a D. They're chords based on that. We're going to go over that. Some of you already know what those are, but we're going to talk more about those chord variations after we go over the picking strategies. Okay, so you'll notice this is the verse, what I'm calling the verse. It's an instrumental. There's no vocals, but the verse, we pick it a certain way starting out, but then we change it in the middle of that, okay? So I think we go through, I believe it's 1, 2, 3, 4 bars of one picking strategy, and then we change it up for the 4 bars after that. So here's what I played. Here's what we started out with. Very simple, okay? We basically strum the chord one time and then we kind of arpeggiate those notes after that, but just a few notes. And the one thing I want to go over here is sometimes we can overplay certain parts of the song. What I'm doing here is I'm allowing those notes to ring out and allowing the drums and the bass guitar to kind of carry the song, right? So this little strategy here, just, you know, picking minimal notes, right? One strum with a few little arpeggiated notes there, and then letting that ring out and just kind of letting the song breathe, okay? Kind of like taking you to that next level of the journey that we're about to go on right now. But all I'm doing, again, just one strum, okay? And by the way, I'm playing an S-sus7 and a D-sus7. Again, we're going to talk more about those chords and another really cool chord after we go over the picking strategies. But let's stick with the picking first. So again, it's the A. Okay, so I'm strumming the A, or the A-sus7 rather, which is that open A string, then 2nd fret, and then the last 2 strings are open. Again, we'll cover more on why I play it this way and why I use these chords a lot, like seriously a lot. We'll talk about that in a second. But so we strum that, and then we've got just a very, you know, subtle and simplistic picking strategy after that. And I'm basically I'm starting with a B string, going up to the G string, and then back down to the E string. And again, letting it ring out. Now we do the exact same thing with the D-sus7, which that's just like playing a regular D chord, but leaving that E string open. Okay, that's the D-sus7. And again, we apply the same exact strategy here. Okay, we're strumming that chord, And then that picking strategy we're using is B, G, E string. So again, here it is. Now I change things up in the middle of the verse, okay? A lot of times the verse of the song, you may just hear those chords being played, but if you listen closely, some songs, they'll actually shift a little bit. There'll just be a very subtle change in the middle of that. And I like to throw stuff like this in my rhythms, especially when the verse is a bit extended, okay? We've got, again, I think it's a total of 8 bars of music here. So we're gonna chop it up a little bit in the middle. So let me play that first picking strategy, and I'm gonna go into the second, and then we'll break that down, okay? Okay, so you see what we did there, just a very subtle change, same chords, same exact chords, but we chop it up a little bit. Instead of playing that chord and letting it ring out, we chop it up a little bit before letting it ring out. So it's kind of like this. And for me personally, that gives it a little bit more of that rock edge without going over the edge, if that makes sense. Now, of course, we do some arpeggiating there as well, so let me play that for you. Now I change up that picking pattern a little bit from what we played in the beginning. So there are 2 changes here, right? From the first part of the verse to the second part of that verse. We chop it up for one, give it a little bit more of that edgy rock and roll vibe there. And then instead of going B, G, E string, we just go from E, B, G, okay? So it's like this. And I let those ring out after I play that last note. We let those notes ring out a bit, and then we're just doing that twice. E, B, G strings twice. Now we go into the chorus of the song. So let me play this transition from the last part of that verse going into the chorus. So listen to this and then we'll break this down real quick. So we're throwing in 2 extra chords here. We've got an E major chord in there, but we're starting out with an F sharp minor. We're gonna play that F sharp minor a little differently. Actually, that chord is called, I believe, let me get this out, it's an F sharp minor 7 add 11/C sharp. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about the chords themselves very, very soon. But let me explain how I'm playing that variation of the F sharp first, okay? Or the F sharp, again, F sharp 7 add 11/C sharp. So anyway, we're not even playing the first note, okay? Normally you play an F sharp like this, barring the entire 2nd fret, A and D strings, 4th fret, right? We're skipping that first note though. Those A and D strings will be 4th fret, okay? That next note, which will be the G string 2nd fret, and then the last 2 strings open. So again, we're going to talk more about that in a second, but the picking strategy, I'm going to change that up again, and we're going to go from kind of that letting those chords ring out with some arpeggiated notes there. We're going to go from that to more of a strumming strategy, because again, I want some differentiation between these pieces of music, okay? Yeah, we're playing more chords and the structure's changing just a little bit here, but I also want to make another change to that as well to make it a little bit more exciting. It's like, okay, you have arrived at this part of the song, which is the chorus, which is typically a little bit bigger than the other pieces of music, okay? So what I'm doing here is this. So I'm down picking twice, then I go into a light alternate strum there, okay? Now, let me just say this, guys. I'm not really sharing how to play the song, even though I kind of am, but that's not the purpose of this video. It's not really to learn Jason's acoustic song here. The main purpose of this video, again, is to grasp the concepts, okay? The concepts of making changes in where you feel the appropriate parts of the song are to make those changes, okay? Maybe you've got a verse and you're like, okay, well, I've been playing this verse this way for a long time. Maybe I should change it up in the middle of there, right? Go back to the strategies that we learned in this video. And again, you don't have to implement those exact strategies. You don't have to do that exact picking pattern, right? The strumming pattern. Just make something up on your own and just chop it up in the middle, do something a little different. And then when we get to the chorus here, maybe you're going to some different chords like we just did, but maybe you want to change the strumming pattern or the picking pattern. Just be aware of where you feel like those changes are carrying your song, okay? Because there's going to be a little tug there. It's like, okay, well, I'm playing it this way, but man, just something is missing. And that's when you know you need to change things up a little bit. Okay, so now let's briefly talk and hang around for the end, because we're going to apply this stuff to electric guitar. It's going to be a little bit different from what we're doing here, but you'll get it. Hang around for that. But I want to cover these chords really quickly. There are 3 chords that we played that are not the standard chord, okay? We kind of went over the Asus7 and the Dsus7. Your normal A would be this, right? Your normal D would be this. Now listen to the Asus7 and the Dsus7. It's a little more melodramatic, if you will, and I personally love that. Now, your style may be more of just playing those major chords, and if that's more of your style, hey, go for it. I'm just sharing an example of using a different strategy, a different chord structure, or different chords rather, to get what you're looking for. What fits you? What fits your personality? More importantly, what fits your song that you're writing? Or again, if you're learning a cover song, what are you wanting to kind of carry over with that cover song that's going to make it more of your own, okay? This is not going to be that song, right? This is going to be your version of that song. And that's how we get to those places, by just implementing some different chords, chord structures, different strategies, and so forth. So that's what this is all about. I use those 2 chords and this F sharp variation that we're about to go over. I use these probably, I'd say 90% of the time. Where there's an A, I'm playing an A sus7. Okay? When there's a D, I'm usually playing a D sus7. Now, real quick, the beauty of these 2 chords, the sus7s here, is that they'll fit in a major or a minor key. All right, so real quick, let's go over, let's see if I can spit this out again. It's such a long name. This chord right here, the F sharp minor 7 add 11/C sharp. Okay, so again, we're skipping that E string. Okay, we're skipping what would normally, where we normally start, that 2nd fret, that F sharp note. Okay, and again, the other finger positions for the other next 3 notes rather are the same. Okay, A and D strings, 4th fret. I use my 1st finger to go over to the G string, 2nd fret. The last 2 strings, we would normally bar those, but we're leaving them open. that just sounds so full and so cool. And for me personally, it gives it that, again, that melodramatic feel to it. And that's just my personal style. So I'm not saying you need to copy what I'm doing. You may like it and you may want to start using these chords, and you may be like, man, this is my style too. I'm going to start using this stuff because it's really cool. But if it's not, I'm not saying you have to use these chords, but I want you just to think outside of the norm and just think of some different things that you can do to change things up where you feel appropriately in your song that you're writing or that you're learning, okay? So we use that. Now sometimes, and sometimes this is by accident, I will actually play that open E string with this. You can barely hear the difference without it. Now with it, it gives it a little bit more full sound. So sometimes I'll use that. This is where things get kind of cool here. So what I just did, I just kind of replicated the chorus, right? Just the chords, and we're just playing power chords here. So we're playing that F sharp power chord, D, A, then an E. And again, we're not going to do the exact same thing that we did on acoustic on electric here, but we are going to use the same concepts. We're going to apply those concepts. So let's say you want that first part of that, we can call this verse, chorus, whatever, doesn't matter, but the first part of that, the first half of that, maybe you want those power chords to ring out. Maybe the second time around, though, you're kind of bored with that. It's like, you know what, we need something else. And it doesn't have to be a major change. Again, we're going back to these concepts that we just learned on acoustic. Maybe it's just a subtle change. So let's try just something really really small, real small change here. Let's try this. All we did was just add a little palm mute in there. Remember on acoustic, the first when we went from the first part of the verse to the second part, instead of letting that chord ring out, kind of like what we did with the power chords here, well, instead we chopped it up a little bit in the beginning and then kind of let it ring out. So we applied that strategy, we applied that concept just now to electric. That one subtle little change, well, it can make a big difference in your song, okay? So now we can do some more changes. Let's see, we could do something like... Now, that wasn't so much of a subtle change there, right? We just had kind of like this melodic pattern that we were playing, and all I did was just went up, I think, 2 more notes. Really, really simple, 2 more notes within each chord there, within that progression there. Now, you could have one guitar doing this. If you have 2 guitars in your band, or if you're recording 2 guitars, one guitar doing this. The second guitar could come in the second part of that. Let's say both guitars do that. That second guitar could come in and do the change, right? And play this along with those chords. Pretty cool. Or you could have both guitars doing that. You could have them harmonize the single notes, whatever you want to do, right? But it's just to share how to use these concepts that we talked about when it comes to rock and metal. Now, one more thing, you could even do something like this. Maybe mix in the power chords with some of just the regular chords. Well, I say regular, we're going to throw in that D sus7 and the A sus7. Check this out. See how this sounds. that sort of takes it from kind of a heavy metal sound to more of like a rock, hard rock sound, because now we've got those I want to say kind of open chords. That Asus7 and Dsus7 kind of opens things up because it has that one extra open note in there. So that sort of gives it more of a rock vibe, right? If you want to change things up and go that direction. But again, guys, I just want to share just a couple of simple strategies that you can use to change up your rhythms. And I really hope this video helped you guys. If you have any questions, leave those below. Real quick, don't forget to look in the description of this video. Look for my Metal Riff Master course. That course is available to you. I've got some other good stuff in the description as well. One more thing before we go. I know I did some solos in the acoustic clip that you heard, and I'll link to that at the end of this video so you guys can go back and watch the whole thing there and listen to the whole song. I'll link to that at the end here, but do check that out. And if you guys want me to cover the lead part of that acoustic song, then hey, let me know in the comments. Guys, thank you so much for supporting my channel. Give this a like, make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you on the next video. Until then, keep it metal and sometimes acoustic.